Turtle-a-roo and Dinah Snail ran outside. They saved their snow fort from a terrible snow monster over and over again. Hours later, Franklin's mother called to them, "Turtle-roo, Dinah Snail, come inside. I have a big surprise." When the superheroes were warm and dry, Franklin's mother told them the good news. "Dinah-roo will be autographing her new book at Mr. Heron's bookstore tomorrow morning," she said. "Do you know anyone who would like to go?" Franklin and Snail jumped up and down and gave each other the Dinah-roo salute. For the rest of the afternoon, Franklin and Snail talked about Dinah-roo. They reread all of Dinah-roo's adventures and made their plans for the next day. They were both so excited they could hardly eat their dinner or fall asleep that night. Early in the morning, Franklin and Snail set off for the bookstore. As they rounded a bend in the path, they saw Mrs. Muskrat searching through the snow. "I dropped my house key," she explained, "and now I'm locked out. Can you help me find it?" Franklin looked at Snail. "But," Snail began. "Come on, Snail," Franklin decided. This shouldn't take two superheroes long at all." Franklin was wrong. They dug and dug without finding the key. "We may not find it until the snow melts," Mrs. Muskrat said finally. "It's time to call off the search." Franklin and Snail breathed sighs of relief and turned to go. "If you could pile some snow under the window," continued Mrs. Muskrat, "maybe we could get in that way." "But Mrs. Muskrat," Franklin said, then stopped. Mrs. Muskrat was shivering. So Franklin huffed and puffed and rolled a huge snowball to the kitchen window. He climbed on top and pushed and shoved until the window opened just enough for Snail to crawl through. Up and over the ledge went Snail, across the counter, down the wall, over the floor, and up the door. Finally, Snail turned the door handle. "Hooray!" shouted Franklin. "This calls for hot chocolate and cake," declared Mrs. Muskrat. Franklin and Snail looked at the kitchen clock. "Thank you, Mrs. Muskrat," said Franklin, "but, you see," and he finally told her all about Dinah-roo. "Well, off you go," exclaimed Mrs. Muskrat. "I can thank both of you properly another time."